So what we're gonna do something a little different today. We are going to try and do a tutorial run. Or at least a commentary run. To try and explain the reason why certain things are being done. Tips and tricks, things that you can always look out for, things to pay attention to. General things such as that. Alright, so first thing that I want to talk about is over here on my live split, I have my speed sphere and my power sphere counter. There are 17, I should actually change this because it's confusing to even myself. Alright, so there's 17 speed spheres that are needed for the entire run. 2 of which are guaranteed, so you need to find 15 extras. Your speed spheres normally come from triple piranhas that are forced down in the ruins before Tros, Kilika Woods, Mushroom Rock Road, and there's a couple of other places you can go and get them, along with getting them with fillers. In terms of the power spheres, you need 47. There are technically 37 guaranteed power spheres in the run. All of this is explained in the beginning of the notes. But the reason why with 37 of them being guaranteed and needing 47 of them for the route, the reason why I have 12 here on my counter is because the Bunyip encounter from the Riku Mix tutorial is optional. It's guaranteed in the sense that you're always going to get that encounter and you can kill it and always get those 2 power spheres. But it's a fight that you don't have to take if you don't want to. So depending on where I am in terms of how many bonus power spheres I've gotten, will dictate whether I take those 2 there or not, which is why I look for extras. But with that being said, we'll just get into it and see what we can do.
Can you sign this?
No prob.
Please?
Alrighty.
Me too!
Take it easy.
So, beginning of the game is very basic. We're just running through everything normally. Taking the inside path here is slightly faster just because of less travel time, but not super important.
Make one. Coming. Hey! Yay!
These ones don't.
Alright, so we spam 2 attacks, and then defend, and then spam attack some more. It doesn't technically matter if you defend first turn and then start attacking, or defend second turn with Tidus. I like to do this. I'd like to do it that way, to where I'm defending, so that way I don't have an accidental, like, accidentally mash, like, Orin's defend turn, or something crazy like that. Alright. Dragon Fang has been the bane of my existence recently, but let's see if I can do it.
Get up! Some.
Nope. Failed it. At least I got a good damage roll though. And I failed Tidus's, but still got a decent damage roll, so not getting super punished, I guess. That's a horrible Orin roll. That's like bottom of the barrel. That's better. But because I've had 2 bad Orin rolls, I need 2 high damage rolls here on crit. Otherwise, this 6 demis. Okay. That worked. Nice. Turn 1 flicker. Orin not hitting himself actually sucks. It loses like an extra second just because whenever he hits himself, he interrupts his own animation. So it speeds up his neutral return a little bit. But whenever he misses, he has to go through the whole swing animation and then reset back to neutral. A pretty good tanker fight. Only having 2, or only having 1 basic attack in the middle is good.
Hey! Hey!
My old man?
So we continue to progress. Nice preemptive. Alright. So make sure you do your menu here. Cursor and aeons. And then heal with potions. That's not what I meant to do. Holding the direction the wrong way. Grab the 2 required items. And touch the fire. And so for click, your best bet is just counting the number of attacks that you do. Crits count for 2. It's always better to throw your potion if you don't get any dodges in phase 1. But it's honestly up to you. You don't have to. You can get through the entire fight without Titus dying. But I always find it better to just, even if you get a dodge, unless you get 2, I always throw the potion last turn. And then depending on your Riku's grenade first roll, like that being a really, really high roll, you can afford a couple of misses. So first steal is always guaranteed. What I generally do is I'll go for 2 steals if I miss, and then I'm just depressed. Because I got a crit with Titus, I can go for 1 extra steal here, so that's what I'm gonna do. Alright, now at this point, I already have 3 grenades, no point in stealing anymore. It's just gonna lose time overall if you do. So just start spamming out attacks. Hey Crimson, I'm doing good. With good movement here, you can sometimes get the encounter skip, but I didn't. What I like to do here, if I get this encounter in particular where it's the 2 enemies, if Titus doesn't get the outspeed, I will always steal from Bravo first and attack it. It just saves a little bit of time in the animations because it's 1 less attack. But I got a rare steal and a normal steal there. So I'm currently at 6. I also picked up 2 power spheres, which is really, really solid. Fun fact with the save spheres underwater, their hitboxes extend really high up. So what I see a lot of new runners do is they'll hold circle to dive down to touch the save sphere when you don't actually have to. It saves ever so slight amount of time, but you know, every little bit of optimization is nice. All you have to do is just hold down right and hit X and you'll hit the top of the save sphere. So with me having 6 grenades, I'm gonna go for 7 grenade straps, where I just steal 1 extra time and defend with Titus. And then on Riku's next turn, we'll throw the 7th grenade. It guarantees 2 overkills on the piranhas, and getting overkills here is nice because if both of them decide to drop speed spheres, that's 4 speed spheres. And I got double rares, so I ended up with 4 ability spheres. Unfortunate. It happens. Alright, so here for Tros, because I have 6 grenades, we always want to go for the throw first. Check your damage roll. Hopefully it's less than 350, and it's not. If it's less than 350, so if it's 349 or less, a Tros will not switch sides. But even him switching sides isn't too big of a time loss. It's like 9 or 10 seconds total on PC. So continue to spam your grenades. Make sure you get a Tidus attack in. So that way you're less likely to not underdamage. I have a chance to actually underdamage though. These next 2 grenades have to be somewhat decent or he could Nautilus charge me again. He's gonna Nautilus charge me again. Oh no, I didn't. I got the good roll on the last. Those 2 power spheres are guaranteed, so I don't count them. And because of CSR, the hitboxes for that center thing, I guess you call it a core in the ruins, doesn't exist because of the cutscenes getting skipped, so you can just swing through it. But if this was a normal any percent, you'd have to swim around. So for Besaid Lagoon, getting good with the movement is very key. The less movement time that you have in the lagoon, the lower your odds are of getting a third encounter. So after the Waka cutscene, what I normally do is I will hold directional stick upright. And that will start me normally in the correct direction, and I will just continue to hold that until I get towards the rocks.
What's
10's movement is kind of wonky, where it doesn't like to... It doesn't really make sense in relation to Tidus's, like, how he's positioned, and how the, how his character moves whenever you move the joystick. So getting used to it's kind of hard. 4 Piranha encounters, it's really bad. Escaping is always just as bad. Let's see if Tidus decides to get out after this turn. He does not. There we go. But yeah, I just try to hold this inside edge as close as possible. Doing very minor adjustments in movement. This is horrible. Another 4 Piranha. And this second encounter is super early, so I'm more than likely gonna get 3 encounters. And lose every bit of time possible. Tidus just doesn't want to get out. Alright. But again, just continue to hold this inside line. Well, at least I first try to escape that one. It sucks not getting any 2 Piranha encounters that I can take out for the power spheres, but it's all good for now. so into Besaid. Gotta hit all the story triggers like we would normally. So just run into the temple, run forward towards the stairs, run out. Head into Waka's tent and talk to him. Then immediately leave.
Maybe.
Alright. Besaid Cloister is real simple. Just follow the beaten path forward and you'll be able to finish it. But forward glyph, then right side glyph. Down to the bottom of the stairs to do the sphere tutorial. Once you grab the new sphere, down the stairs and to the left, into the door. Follow the horseshoe to the other side of the room, touch the glyphs on the wall. Grab Besaid sphere. And then run it to the pedestal. New stream room? I mean, I guess technically. But it's like 6 months old now. Who said I was a bunny? Anywho. Press the pedestal to the end and you're done.
Hey, over here!
Where's that boat?
I mean, I've only just recently turned my webcam back on. Alright. So once you leave the inn, make sure you go back inside of Besaid to get Energy Blast. So item shop is first door on the left. Talk and leave. The dog that you need to talk to is last house on the right. Talk to the doggo, get the energy blasts, and then we're leaving. Okay, so this fight right here nets you 1 guaranteed power sphere and 1 guaranteed speed sphere. If you get a crit and an overkill, that's a bonus. So no need to do any counting here.
A fly!
So no extra counting here. So with the way that my AP is right now, I am 6 AP away from level 3. I'm only going to be able to get 5 more AP on Tidus before the next time that I'm going to open the menu. But because of that, we're going to be doing a slightly different
Told
grid,
ya.
just
You can't beat 'em
to
down.
Magic.
make it so that we're not opening the menu an
Clueless
extra
aren't.
time. This is completely unnecessary. You don't have to do this if you don't want to. You can just open the
I get
menu
fire
later
and
once you have enough
Lightning and
AP
water
to get
up this one
Tidus's
here is a-
3 AP levels. This is just something that I like to do because it just makes it feel like it flows better. But coming up is the Kamari fight. Counting damage on Kamari is essential if you don't have this early strength. Any damage above or below 125 is counted. So for example, that's 6 over, so that's plus 6. That's 2 over, so now I'm plus 8. That's 5 over, so now I'm plus 13. The higher plus that you are, the better. The safer that things are. That's minus 2, so now I'm plus 11. That's plus 7, so I'm plus 18. And I'm 100% safe this next attack will kill. So just getting comfortable with counting the numbers and knowing if you're going to have a guaranteed kill or not is very crucial. If you're not going to get a guaranteed kill on the 6th attack, always throw a potion on yourself to prevent yourself from dying.
A flyer.
True. Why don't we let our son?
So with the Force Garuda, enjoy your Pokemon battle.
Your first real
Show us what you're... Okay.
Veil Foe. So with the black magics that you're using here, Thunder is like 2 frames or 3 frames overall faster than casting Fire in terms of animation speed. So casting a Fire doesn't really matter if you did it by accident. But whatever spell you decide to cast, just make sure that you casted it until you run out of MP, and then Garuda should die. Alright, so again, because I'm a little bit short on AP, I'm going to do this single menu. It's going to force me to have to do the Achuli's fight slightly different. So what we do here is Tidus Grid. I move him up 1 space and just teach him Cheer before I do my formation swap. You always want to make sure you take Waka out of the party for this, otherwise you have to deal with a cutscene, and that's not fun.
I wanna.
Waka?
Yuna didn't want to escape. Alright. So we have one more fight that we have to deal with. That's guaranteed. This is a forced fight right on the other side of this last waterfall. Right here. Guaranteed fight. This is the game saying, alright, I'll put everything we learned all together. Again, no crits or overkills on the Condor or the Dingo. So no need to count any extra power spheres or speed spheres. If you didn't want to do the modified grid that I did, where you just teach Cheer, after that encounter, you almost always have 3 sphere levels. So then you can do your normal Tidus grid there, if that's what you feel is more comfortable. I said it's ever so slightly less optimal because of the extra opening of the menu. So run on to the boat. Make sure you hit all your triggers. So go to Yuna, and then go to Waka, and then go back to Yuna. We fight the Sinspawn just as normal. Hopefully we get the good turn order. Otherwise, it's just a straight time loss if you don't. Also pay attention to turn 1, because Yuna does have a chance to outspeed Tidus here. Alright, we got the good turn order, so that's good. Double Thunder, double Lance it. Bring Yuna back in. Always take your time here. Do not accidentally blast the boat. It's a very, very bad feeling whenever you energy blast the boat. Almost every runner has probably done it at least once, but try your best to not let it happen to you. Alright, so with the Achuli's fight, because I did the modified grid though, we're going to cheer 4 times with Tidus instead of the 2. And we're still going to do our normal stuff with Waka. So that's 1 cheer. We dark attack with Waka. Two cheers. Normal attack with Waka from here on out. 3 cheers. Doing the strat this way loses you 4 total AP overall, but it's a net neutral in terms of time loss if you don't open the menu again. After Blender, you go back to just normal attacking with Tidus. So it's 4 total attacks from both party members before you throw your overdrive, just the same. So that's 2, 3, 4, and then Spider Cart. Try to pay attention to your drops after this fight. If you see an ice ball or ice brand, that's very good. I got neither. And this is also the one instance in the CSR run where you have to manually skip a cutscene. Make sure you press start and square or start and X if you're using Xbox controller to skip that FMV. So after that though, Kilika is pretty normal. Just run around touching all of the story triggers before heading towards the woods. There's 2 possible turn outcomes that you can get with the forced Rigora encounter. Getting seed cannon skip is not required, it's just really nice to get. We'll see what kind of turn order we get. But the game's always going to tell you to use Lancet. And then you need to cast Fire with Lulu and the basic attack with Tidus. But you want to get Yuna her AP for this fight.
Hey!
And we got the turn order for Seed Scan and Skip, so we'll Lancet. Cast Fire. switch to Yuna, bend, and then basic attack. Because I did not get the Ice Wall or Ice Brand, we need to grab Scout. And make sure that we equip the Scout onto Waka, and then swap Lulu out of the party for Waka.
I'll be right back.
So you want to be looking for specific encounters here in Kilika Woods. Ideally, you want to see a bee lizard, or not a bee lizard, but a bee element, and or a lizard bee element. Those are the best encounters to charge on. A lizard and a bee together is really good for experience, but not for charging overdrive. You also want to be paying attention to the number of speed spheres that drop. The lizards have a chance of rare dropping a power sphere, so be on the lookout for that as well. Hopefully I get a good encounter here to charge on. This is fine.
Now what? I'm ready.
This sucks to charge on, but you're gonna have to utilize it. It gives us plenty of AP
Please,
and stuff like
fight with
that, so
us.
it's not the worst. But black magic, nice dodge. Black magic. Hello. Make sure you touch the save sphere here. And then for Jeannot, basic attack. You can skip the basic attack if you want, it just makes your damage rolls way more unpredictable. Getting the 52 damage there is just nice because Tidus normally goes first anyway, and it just, like I said, makes your damage rolls just a little bit more favorable. Getting a 1454 is on the lower end, but we're pretty much at medium damage right now at 1500. So Veil 4 has to average about 378 per fire in order to kill in 3. Or kill in 4. Otherwise you had to cast a 5th one. Not a big deal if you had to cast the 5th one. It's just ever so slightly slower. So 390 is a high damage roll, that's really good. .376 is median roll, so that's fine. .387 is higher than average, so that's good. So I'm pretty much guaranteed that this next fire will kill. Alright. Now we head to Kilika. Kilika Temple.
Lordo.
Talk to Waka there to trigger the praying, and then you can move on. While the camera is panning, you can start moving Tidus, so just start holding forward. You don't have to wait for the camera to completely pan in order to start moving. But grab Kilika Sphere, put it in the door, remove Kilika Sphere from the door, run on through, pedestal in the back, insert the sphere, take the sphere back out, move down right, put it into the next pedestal, touch the glyph on the wall that you just created, and then run on through. Grab the Kilika Sphere that's in the wall on the right hand side, bring it back to the first room, put it in the pedestal on the left. With this glyph sphere, you do not have to move to the front of the pedestal to grab it. You can grab the sphere from the back. It's the only pedestal in the game that you can do that with. Kind of a nice little free time save for those that didn't know that. You take the glyph sphere and you put it on the wall on the right hand side. That gets the fire to go away. And then it doesn't matter which of the two Kilika Spheres in the first room that you go get. I prefer to get the left one just because that's what I'm used to doing. But grab it and put it in the last door. Remove it to exit the area. So that's out of the way. You can name Ifrit and we can leave. So something that I did in Kilika Woods Part 1 is I went for the Lux Sphere early. That is something that you can do if the first encounter isn't a favorable one to charge on. If you get a really good charge encounter, first encounter, it's best to just run through and just get to Kilika Temple as quick as possible. So if you were to end up doing that in that situation, please be sure to get the Lux Sphere on the way out. But again, since I got the Lux Sphere early, I don't have to worry about that. And I can just immediately leave.
You guys are toast. Ha!
That's not who I meant to put. I meant to pick Waka back in.
I can take care of those alone, huh? Take that.
Another overkill, which is good. 3 more speed spheres is nice. So normally you would only need 6 kills in Kilika in order to have enough AP to guarantee that you have level... and to guarantee that you have enough sphere levels after Obliterator to teach Tidus haste. If you get 10 kills most of the time, that is enough AP to have haste before Obliterator. So in my situation, I have exactly 10 kills, so I'm more than likely going to get haste before.
But someday, make it up.
Make sure you give 1100 gil to Awaka. That's to purchase Sonic Steel later. Head up the stairs for a story trigger. And then Jack Shot tutorial. The practice inputs are always the same. It's always going to be upright, left, center, and bottom right.
You're out of your league.
But you don't have to do anything else here. Plus, if you were to actually, I think if you were to actually get the Jack Shot cutscene, the game just crashes. If you're playing CSR. So take your little 20-second break, and then talk to Yuna. Once you arrive in Luca, you gotta do all the story triggers. Run down right, run over here. Blitzball tutorial is just end tutorial. Head down a few steps. Head down these steps. head to the right, then enter the bar. Then out of the bar and rerun left. Back to whence we came. What do you want? Just continue to follow the red arrow. With the first two Machina encounters, we just want to defend with Tidus and Kimari and spam Thunder with Lulu. Be careful of the turn order here. There is some chances that Lulu outspeeds Kimari, or that Tidus will get an extra defend turn in before Lulu gets a turn. So just be mindful of your turn order bar in the top right corner. Just be mindful of it so that way you're not accidentally doing something you don't want to do. So the exact same thing occurs in the second encounter. Defend with Kimari, defend with Tidus, spam Thunder. For the third encounter, though, we're going to start doing basic attacks with Tidus and Kimari. It's net faster overall if you land a crit. Ends up being net neutral if you were to just spam defend continuously and spam thunders with Lulu. Make sure you hit right when you're doing your targeting so that you don't accidentally thunder the one that Tidus and Kimari are attacking. If after 3 attacks you don't get a crit, you need to use Kimari's overdrive in order to kill. On second wave, you do like you would in the first couple of fights. So you spam Thunder, defend with the boys. And then for wave 3, it's exactly the same as wave 1, where we attack with Tidus and Kimari. I got a crit, which is good. Again, on Lulu's turn, make sure that you target the right one. Because I got the crit, though, only need the last 2 attacks. Oh, Tidus crit a second time, which is really good. And down it goes. So because I have the 5 sphere levels early, I'm gonna grid haste early. This doesn't normally happen, but if it does, it makes Obliterator ever so slightly faster. I like to make sure that Lulu is full HP before I fight Obliterator, just so that way I don't have to deal with her animations for being in critical health. So Tidus goes first, haste Lulu, then Lulu starts spamming Thunder on the crane. After 3 thunders, you can operate the crane, and it just so happens to work out really well that Tidus always goes right after Lulu's 3rd thunder when she's hasted. So we continue to defend with Kamari. Thunder with Lulu again. Basic attack with Tidus to end the fight. I got a harpoon. So if you didn't have haste before Obliterator, you would, before you touch this next save sphere, this is where you would make sure that you grid haste. Make sure you grid haste before you touch the save sphere, because you need to keep the you need to recover your MP. Alright, so now we do Blitzball. Blitzball is probably the hardest thing for beginners to learn to win consistently. It is probably the one thing in Final Fantasy X that most runners should practice on a regular basis. But in the first period, the object is to get the ball as quickly as possible. Make sure you pass the ball to Tidus at least once. And then make sure Tidus passes the ball to Djose. Djose is the main character that you want to have the ball in their hands at all times, just because they have a base speed stat of 63, whereas every other character at this level in this game has a base speed stat of 60. So because of that extra 3 speed, it might actually be 2 speed. It might be 62 versus 60, but either way, the extra speed that Djose has allows you to completely kite the enemies and never have to deal with stoppages in time. The Luca goers like to really waste time whenever they're performing an action such as passing or shooting or even trying to dribble through a defensive break. The game time completely pauses. So the longer that they're sitting there doing their actions, the more actions that they perform, the slower things go. So the idea here is to just keep the ball away from the goers and get Tidus a little bit of experience, which is why we have him receive a pass and then pass the ball himself. That gives us, for the second period, level 3 on Tidus, which allows him to use Spear Shot, which is what we're going to use to try and win the game with. So, for the remainder of the first period, just continue to do the Djose train. Nice gradual turns, nothing too sharp. Make sure that you just swim all the way around the perimeter of the sphere pool, and the goers will never catch you.
The goers are just...
Alright, so period 2, same exact thing as period 1. Do what you can to get the ball back. If the goers win the blitz off, you have to do the formation swaps, but because Letty has won twice, just instantly pass the ball to Djose. What I like to do is I like to come down to this spot right here. This spot, for the most part, unless the goers change very specific formations, you'll never catch aggro. AI in Blitzball is kind of dumb, and if you never enter their aggro circles of the enemies, they will never come after you. So you can just sit down here and waste time. I'm gonna go for Blitz off skip. It saves about 13 to 14 seconds overall if you get it. There's almost little to no risk going for it, other than if you're too slow, you might end up mistiming it and not scoring. But as long as you err on the side of caution and go a little bit earlier than what you think you need to go, even if you score and you don't get scoreboard skip, it's not a big deal. but at about the 2-minute and 18 mark is where I like to start moving. So, right about now, we want to go forward and we want to draw the aggro of the first 2 defenders. I'm actually going to do this. I'm going to try and sneak something here. I think I have to just normal shot now. I might have been too late there because I didn't draw aggro properly. We'll see what happens though. I ended up scoring. And I got triple Letty, so I got perfect blitzball. What do you know? So if you can see down at the bottom right, I have a goal, even though you didn't actually see if the ball went in. The way that blitzball works is once a screen transition occurs, like when you're shooting the ball and it transitions to if the goalie blocks the ball or not, even once that happens, the set outcome has already occurred. So even if that set outcome or that cutscene gets interrupted by a transition such as that, the outcome always occurs. So that's why I was able to have a goal there. And that was basically how scoreboards get worked. You just want to time it to where the ball is going to potentially go in at around the 301, 302 mark. And if you get it, then you get to skip the animations and stuff like that. Alright, so with the Sahagins, Waka takes 2 attacks to kill. Tidus always kills with 1 basic attack, but anytime you get an overkill, that counts as an extra power sphere. So make sure you're counting your overkills. So that's 1. So the first 2 waves, what I like to do is I like to attack Sahagin C with Waka. If Waka crits, it kills instantly, so it might save a turn. If it doesn't, then it doesn't. It's not a big deal. But you just continue to spam attack until you get to the 3rd wave. When you get to the 3rd wave, that's when you stop attacking with Waka. So that's 2 crits. Make sure you're targeting here properly, because if you target the correct one, you can skip an attack animation. It's 3 crits. Alright, so 3 overkills, which is not horrible. Overkill on the Drake here with Orin also is an extra power sphere. Did not get it. And then overkill on Garuda is also an extra power sphere. So under a certain damage threshold, Garuda is a 50-50 to counter-attack or not. So if you attack with Orin 3 times, and then Tidus once, that keeps Garuda just under that threshold. And I got 0 counters between there. Now every time Orin attacks, it's guaranteed to counter, because we're underneath that certain damage threshold. Titus does not need AP for this fight, so if he dies, it is not a big deal. And that's brutal. Once control is regained, make sure you come behind these boxes to get the 2 extra chests. Here's one with a magic. And one with an HP sphere. And then we're just gonna follow the red arrow. We talked to Yuna, and now we're on Mihen High Road. Mihen High Road's very, very basic. Just run a straight line. The Forced Raldo encounter here, this is guaranteed 1 power sphere. If you crit,
It's awesome.
No way.
if you crit with Orin, then you get a bonus one. Which I did not get.
Told ya.
So what I like to do whenever I'm running down Mihen High Road is I try to hug the right side. Because there is an NPC towards the end that you need to talk to. Ambushes on Mihen High Road are very, very powerful. Especially if they just all target Titus. Because now I have to rely on manual escaping. Make sure that you're healing after every fight. Like I was saying, you want to try to hug the right side of the road because this NPC that you're seeing at the end, you normally run into him on the right-hand side.
Live and let live.
You need to talk to him in order to get the Hunter's Spear. Need that to sell for money later.
Hey, I'm a guardian now, so watch out. I won't go so easy on you next time.
On the second screen, just continue to follow the red arrow, heading towards the exits. While we're running down Mihen High Road, we want to be looking for an encounter, any encounter that has a bomb in it. There's 2, 3, 4 different formations in Mihen High Road that you can see a bomb encounter, so it is slightly favorable.
Live and let live.
But it does like to not happen. If it doesn't happen, there are other places that you can go and see one. So don't worry too much about it if you don't get it early. But third screen of Mihen High Road, same thing as the other two. Just continue to run.
I'll be right back.
If Titus gets below 300 HP, it's best to heal. After ambushes, make sure that you full heal. There's my bomb encounters, but unfortunately it's on an ambush, so this is gonna suck. Again, they're picking on Titus. This actually might be really bad. I unfortunately have to run away from that. Sometimes you just have to understand that it's not a good idea to continue with the fight. So that's the reason why I ran away from that.
I'll be right back.
So we'll get the next bomb encounter.
I'll be right back.
There's a bomb encounter, and it's on a preempt, so it's fine.
Don't break any bones, old man.
So just make sure we bring Kamari in. Make sure to lance at the bomb. Glare in self-destruct. Then bring Titus back
Make
in.
way!
And
I'll be
leave.
right back.
So hit all the story triggers inside of Rin's agency. Get your key sphere. Get your mega potions. For Chocobo Eater, just make sure you haste in turn 1. Titus is gonna get punched. Kamari's gonna get punched this time.
So,
Kind of a slow fight. The least number of actions that Chocobo Eater can take is 2. He can just straight punch you and then shove you off the cliff. Unfortunately, I got Haymaker punched twice, which is just unfortunate. It's not a huge deal, you just lose time. More bomb encounters.
Live and let live.
Don't need them anymore. So in Old Road, we're just going to continue to try to progress forward as quickly as possible and flee from everything that we get in touch with, hoping for no more
I won't go
ambushes.
so easy on you next time.
Coming up is Mushroom Rock Road. Mushroom Rock Road does require quite a bit of effort to get through because we have to do a little bit of
I
grinding.
won't go so easy on you next time.
Every encounter has a set way of going about doing things. The notes are very, very clear and concise into what you should do depending on what encounter you get. But the first encounter that you come across is just going to be overdriving it with Baleful. It's the charge encounter afterwards, navigating
Alright.
that
I won't go
you
so
really
easy
need
on
to
you
pay
next
attention
time.
to what the notes are saying for each encounter so that you're not making any mistakes and that you're getting through it with the least likely of something going wrong. I got ambushed on the last encounter of Old Road. Luckily, this encounter is probably the best encounter to
I'll
get
be right
ambushed
back.
on because it's the least scary. But after Old Road is complete, talk to the last guard on the right-hand side.
Thank you for your...
Tell him don't worry about it, and then run back. Alright, so first screen of Mushroom Rock Road, we run forward.
I won't go so easy easy on you next time.
I got ambushed again. This is fine as long as Tidus doesn't die. And he died. Hopefully Orin runs away. He did. Okay. These ambushes have been pretty bad. Alright, so Tidus, Waka, Orin is our preferred party when we get to Mushroom Rock Road. You can be a little bit picky with your first couple of encounters if you really want to, and look for a Funguar encounter to maximize the amount of AP that you earn. So for me, I'm going to be a little bit picky.
Crusaders. I'll be right back.
And I'm going to look for a Funguar encounter in my first 3 encounters. If after 3 encounters I don't find a Funguar, on my 3rd encounter I will take it unless it's a Garuda. So here is a Funguar, so we're gonna swap Tidus for Kimahri, defend with Kimahri, defend with Waka, and then we'll summon Veilfor. You can use either Energy Blast or Energy Ray. Doesn't matter which one you do, they're about the same in terms of overall time. I like to do Ray, and that's just because of PST habits. Two speed spheres there. Make sure we do our grid. Use the magic. Oops. Make sure you move to the magic defense node and activate all 3. Waka gets moved to silence attack and a power sphere gets used. Mari gets the 3 HP nodes all around him. Alright, so now we have to find charge encounter. This one can work.
I won't go so easy on you next time.
But I don't like it. Garuda encounter, not ideal.
I'll be right back.
Second Garuda encounter in a row. Really unfortunate.
I'll be right back.
Luckily, Tidus is outspeeding it, so it's not the worst. Ambushed. As long as nobody dies, if they spread the damage out, I'll take it, but nope. Can't take it anymore.
I'll be right back.
It's unfortunate, so now I have to take my charge encounter up here, which is very not good in terms of like what encounters are available up here. Luckily, I got real lucky. So for this, we'll switch Kimahri, lance it the Vandawar, attack it with Waka. Bring Yuna in and summon. Because of how many kills I had in Kilika and having 2 Fungars, I should be fine in terms of AP here. So we'll fire the Fungar, eat a fire from the element, make sure we boost and eat the second fire from the element. This will get our overdrive almost done, or done. And then Blizzard. Yuna did get enough AP, so we're good there. We want Titus, Waka, and Yuna in our party. For Gui, and then ride the elevator. So minus the 1 ambush, it was kind of a subpar Mushroom Rock Road. But overall, could have been way worse. Our speed sphere count is decent.
Monopolies are great.
Let's sell all of our high potions, X potion and the elixir, and then sell equipment. Make sure that you touch the save sphere there. Very important. And then we start the Gui fight. So Orin, power break it.
So
And then it's... Sorry. Defend. Swap to official ball. Damari in. Pay attention to your damage roll here. If you see 7,000, it's a crit. If you see 3,700, it's not. Titus comes back in, summons Yuna, and then we use Baleful. Energy Blast is what you need to use this time around. You also want to pay attention to the damage rolls. So Gui's first thing he's going to do here is he's going to try to punch Baleful. You want to see 337 or less on this punch. 327 is good. If it's 337 or less, then 2 demis will always charge overdrive. The double demi here will get it. If you do not get overdrive if you do not have overdrive, you must shield until you see Gui do a physical attack. He's scripted to do demi directly after physical attacking. Then with the Seymour fight, cast Thundara on the head, turn 1, and then spam it on the body till it dies. You want to defend with Yuna and Orin every turn. Be careful again of turn order. Because of the extra agility, Yuna gets an extra turn in sometimes, like this. So just be mindful of that so you're not accidentally mashing and accidentally summoning Baleful or something like that. Alright. When control is regained, we have a couple more grids that we need to take care of. So what I always do is I go right next to this save sphere before I do the grids. Tee this to the strength node. Activate all 3 that are nearby. Swap to Waka. Move to the HP sphere. Make sure you only activate the strength. Then touch the save. Talk to the party, talk to Orin, and then we can leave. So heading down Djose High Road is very, very similar to heading down Mushroom Rock, or to heading down Mihen. We're looking for a snake. We're looking for basilisk encounters, so that we can give Kimahri a Lancet. I forgot to change parties, by the way. That's my fault. We want Tidus, Waka, and Orin in the party for here.
I'll take you all on.
So continue to just flee from enemies until you find a basilisk. There we are. So swap Tidus for Kimahri, Lancet. Then bring Tidus back in, and let's go. Getting pushed here by the Chocobo is kind of difficult. It does take a little bit of practice to get it right. Don't be too concerned about getting it though, it just kind of moves you a little bit faster. This NPC is kind of in a weird spot though. The idea is you want to just try to stay in front of Captain Lucille as the Chocobo is running by. So that way she just gives you a little bit of a boost in speed. After we get to Djose Temple, just head on inside. And get set up to do Djose Cloister. I'm very much not a fan of Djose Cloister. It's my least favorite cloister out of them all. But we take the 2 spheres out of the walls on the side, put them in the door in front of us. That opens up the second room. Once we're in the second room, we grab the sphere in the wall on the right hand side that's connected to the door straight ahead. And move it to one of the recess holes in the right hand side of the room. We run back and grab the other sphere out of the wall on the left hand side of the door. And then push the pedestal. Push the pedestal to where it needs to be, and then put the last sphere in the hole. That'll supercharge the sphere in the pedestal. From here, I'll grab the sphere on the right hand side, and I'll put it into the empty slot on the pedestal, and then reset the pedestal with the glyph on the other side of the room. We grab the supercharged sphere, and put it in the right hand wall connected to the door. That'll open it. We'll grab the basic sphere out of the wall on the right hand side and put it in the pedestal. And then we will push the pedestal into the newly opened room. After we push it off, a lot of people think that they have to mash X or do all this to actually make the jump. What I generally do is I will just move the controller ever so slightly forward and then let go. And Tidus will automatically jump. Press X on the pedestal to make sure you push it. On the return though, you don't have to do that. You can just run straight at it and then he'll jump automatically. And then grab the supercharged sphere on the right hand side and put it into the left hole. And then reset the glyph again. Or reset the pedestal with the glyph. Sometimes you accidentally step on it twice. No big deal if you do. Just kind of loses a couple of seconds. But we grab the 2 spheres in the pedestal, we head back to the first room and put them back. And that finishes the puzzle. Doesn't matter which way you do this, whether you go clockwise or counterclockwise. Technically, going counterclockwise is slightly more optimal because it's less movement, but again, doesn't really matter. But after pushing all 5 pedestals, the final door opens and we just head on through. Now we name Ixion. After regaining control after naming, head back inside the temple. Goes to the room on the left-hand side of the stairs. Inside this room is a treasure chest in the back left corner. Grab it for a remedy. You're gonna need that for later, maybe. Talk to the maiden. On your way out of leaving this area, make sure you come over here to the left-hand side. There's a treasure chest that has gil. You need that 4,000 gil for later, so make sure you grab it. And then we leave. Alright, so at this point, there's not really too much to do. There's no overdrives that we need to get. It's just avoid encounters. So, focus on your movement. Focus on not taking super wide turns, running straight lines, things like that.
Live and let live!
We're going to continue to just flee from everything, making sure that Tidus and Orin are in the party at all times, and healing as necessary.
Fight, fight, fight. Live and let live! Live and let live! I won't go so easy on you next time.
Having your party set with Kimahri, Tidus, and Orin gives you the most max HP out of all 3 characters combined. That's why I like to run this party comp. You don't have to heal nearly as much because the enemies here don't deal that much damage. The only thing that you have to concern yourself with is ensuring that Tidus is at full health before you fight Extractor. Needs to be at full health.
Live and let live!
And just continue to run. Again, focusing on movement, focusing on running straight lines as best you can.
Live and let live!
Towards the end of Moonflow Road on the left-hand side, There's a little alcove where you need to grab a treasure chest that has a magic defense sphere. Make sure to grab that.
I should have slept in this morning. Live and let live! I won't go so easy on you next time.
So after you get through the load trigger here is where I will make sure that Tidus is at full health. What I'll also like to do is I like to use potions here, and I try to burn all but at least 2 potions. So because of that, that's why I healed everybody. Just so that way I get down to 2 potions. Run in here, run out, and then ride the shoe puff. And then it's the extractor fight. The extractor's pretty simple. You can pretty much always get the kill when you're supposed to, even if you don't get crits and stuff like that. So... Turn 1, haste Tidus. Regular attack with Waka. Then haste Waka. And then we start attacking with Waka, and then we also cheer 4 times with Tidus. 2. 3. 4. With Waka's overdrive, I will always use Waka's overdrive here. With Thunder Reel, you want to have at least 2 elements that read Thunder. So the faster that you get them to do, the more damage that it gets. So there's a little trick that you can do to get the fastest time possible so that you maximize your damage. On Waka's next turn, we're going to use the overdrive. Whenever you see the first set of yellow come by, if you mash it so that you hit the second yellow element, if you mash, you'll always on the 3rd reel hit the first yellow element on the other one. It's kind of weird to explain, but whenever you see yellow come, whenever you see the thunder element come through, you can just mash and get the kill. Also, unfortunately, I didn't get the damage roll to kill Extractor on Tidus's attack. Kind of unfortunate. Due to my power sphere count, having only 3 extra power spheres right now,
Ooh, a treasure chest.
or having 5 extra power spheres right now, I'm going to kill this Bunyip.
You should know. I'm gonna use that item.
Just mix 2 ability spheres together for a frag grenade. This is slower than the skipping it, obviously, because you have to deal with this little bit of dialogue and whatnot. But it's not a big deal either way. What I'll do from here is I'll make sure that I use my last 2 potions to heal Tidus out of crit. And then make sure that Orin is put back in the party over Yuna. and continue on to Guadosalam.
Say your prayers.
Live and let live.
I don't think I actually need 6 speed spheres. I think I miscounted
I won't go
somewhere.
so easy on you next time.
Or didn't count somewhere. So I actually have to sit down and think about it. I think I'm at 15 total speed spheres.
I'll be right back.
But I won't know for a little bit. I don't think I counted any of the speed spheres that I got in Mushroom Rock. But whatever. Alright. So we head into the Seymour's Manor. And then we instantly try to leave. And then we run in. And then we leave. We talk to the gang. And then we head up to the far plane. On the way to the far plane, make sure you grab these these lightning marbles. Very important. The reason why I wanted to make sure that I burned those 2 potions is before I got that lightning marble chest is because now my lightning marbles are in slot 1. It just makes for menuing a lot easier later. We head into the far plane, and then we leave the far plane. And we talk to the gang again. This is just a lot of story progression at this point. From here, head down to the bottom of the area, try to leave, and then talk to the gang again, and then try to leave again. But now we're in the Thunderplains. You're always going to get a Thunder Strike right on the other side of that first hill that I just kind of ran over. So you can normally anticipate a lightning strike to occur there. And then from here, it's just kind of random. For the most part, you normally don't see lightning strikes happening in this area, but just be ready for them.
I'll be right back.
Getting hit with the lightning loses time because it knocks you back further than Tidus would if he jumped.
I won't go so easy on you next time. I won't go so easy on you next time.
Because I still need 6 speed spheres, I'm going to buy 2 extra grenades that I wouldn't normally buy otherwise. So whenever I get to the Rin's agency,
Live and let live.
I'm going to buy 5 grenades instead of 3. I'm also going to make sure that I sell... Oops, I missed that dodge. I'm going to make sure that I sell the longsword and the katana that's in my inventory and buy Shimmering Blade, but not equipment.
I won't go so easy on you next time.
The reason why you sell longsword and katana is so that you put the Shimmering Blade in the top of your inventory, and then you're also going to be able to get the yellow shield at the top of your inventory. So we'll sell longsword and katana. Buy Shimmering Blade, do not equip. Buy items. I bought 1 extra Phoenix down that I didn't need to do. You only need 7 Phoenix downs, but I have 8 now. But I bought my extra 2 grenades. So the idea here is that we want to steal a light curtain from an Iron Giant, but we also hope that we see an Iron Giant with 2 gears, which is the floating eyeball enemies. They drop speed spheres. Grenades can also overkill them. so they can drop 2 speed spheres. So we're hoping for that encounter. We also need to charge Riku's overdrive, so there's a lot of different things that we need to take care of while we're running through the Thunderplains. So hopefully we get the encounter that we're looking for. You don't really need to heal your party members as long as Tidus is the one getting hit, because you don't have to worry about getting ambushed. As long as Tidus isn't the one getting hit, you don't have to worry about healing. When he does get hit, that's when you can go ahead and heal your critical hit enemy or your critical hit party members and whatnot. I guess the game's just not going to give me the Iron Giants at all. Oh well. There's plenty of other opportunities to do it. And not getting the light curtain isn't the biggest of deals because you could just always power break. Light curtain's just a little bit better because it's guaranteed to occur. Like, it's guaranteed to land, where power break has a chance of missing. Nope, there it is. No Iron Giants, no extra speed spheres. So now this is kind of unfortunate. Either way, we're in Macalania now, so we're looking for a Chimera, and we're looking for a water element.
Guardian should fight, not think.
Huh?
I won't go so easy on you next time.
Inside Macalania, we want to keep Tidus's HP as high as possible because everything in Macalania hurts way more than it did in Thunderplains. So, just for added safety and whatnot.
You're wasting our time! I won't go so easy on you next time.
Also, because we didn't get the beer encounters in Thunderplains, I'm gonna have to sell extra equipment.
I'll be right back.
To make up enough money for me to be able to buy Sonic Steel. But just heal is necessary. Keep characters healthy.
Here we go.
I won't go so easy on you
Whenever
next
Tidus
time.
gets hit, and he just needs to be healed. Not getting the Chimera and not getting the fish scale, or getting the water element encounter at all. Getting every encounter that's not that. So this is really unfortunate.
I'll be right back.
But yeah, just continue to heal. Hope that you get these encounters that you need. There's the water element. There's the fish scales.
My turn now. Live and let live.
Trying to charge Riku's overdrive here. Because we also still need to make sure that we charge Riku's overdrive before we fight Sphere Morph. It doesn't have to be all the way charged up, it's just gotta be kind of close. Alright, we got all of our steals now. Oops.
I won't go so easy on you next time.
Alright, so we touch this butterfly to avoid encounters for the rest of the floor. Before we touch the save sphere, we want to make sure that we do formation. We put Tidus, Yuna, and Kimahri in. Touch the save sphere to heal.
Well, holiday prices on all.
Got weapons. Tell them that it's too pricey.
I'll go with.
Buy the Sonic Steel and equip. Then we head to the hidden path. During the Sphere Morph fight, switch armors to Yellow Shield and defend with both Tidus and Yuna. Block Riku. Chuck a grenade. Water means I use the lightning marble with the magic defense node, and this will do. Tidus, Yuna, and Kimahri all need AP from this fight. Riku obviously is going to get it because she's the one that's dealing the killing blow, but Tidus, Yuna, and Kimahri are important to get AP here. Power Sphere here. Level 2. Up 1. Speed Sphere use. Power Sphere use. Power Sphere use. Up 2. Double Power Sphere here. Here, Speed Sphere use, level 1, level 1, our double ability, Tidus, Waka, and... Right, is it Tidus, Waka, Lulu? No, Tidus, Kimahri, Lulu. And then we heal. And we leave. Gonna end up with an encounter now.
Everyone, focus on the enemy.
I'll be right back.
Now we fight Now we fight Crawler. Hopefully we get a good damage roll on the Gator. Not the big deal if we don't get it. We'll just have to throw an extra item. Swap for Riku. Lightning Marble on the Gator. We got the one shot, so it's good. So throw another Lightning Marble, this time on the body. Unit gets got. Mari throws a Lightning Marble on the Gator. Or on Crawler. Mari lives. Blue Phoenix downs Riku. Mari swaps for Tidus and defends. Riku throws another Lightning Marble, it dies again. Another Phoenix down gets used. Tidus swaps for Yuna, and she defends. And then Riku mixes a Lightning Marble with the HP for another Lightning Marble. Tidus has to do his grid. Power Sphere here. Power Sphere here. Speed Sphere here. Power Sphere. Power Sphere. Strength Sphere. Power Sphere. Power Sphere, Power Sphere, Speed Sphere, Power Sphere. Before we fight Seymour, we really need to make sure that we touch the save sphere. Very important, otherwise you're gonna cry. Touch the save sphere there before we head forward. So for Seymour, it's very scripted, very easy to mess the script up. Also very easy to follow the script too. So turn 1. Swap Brotherhood, and then haste Self. Thanks, Chris. Thanks, baby. Swap Brotherhood. Haste Self. We're gonna eat a Blizzara. Make sure you talk to Seymour. Do not talk to the Guado. You lose a turn that way.
Oh.
Yuna does a weapon swap. No extremities. So that's good. Bend through, and then use your spiral cut to end phase 1. You're supposed to swap Yuna out, so that was a mistake. We want to swap Yuna out for Corin, but I accidentally turboed through it. Oops. Shouldn't be a big deal. Might just make me lose a turn.
Yuna!
Waka is gonna switch weapons. Orin's gonna come in, swap weapons. Kimari's gonna steal 3 silence grenades. That's gonna hit Waka. Waka didn't die. Waka didn't die from pain. That's a 1 in 256 to occur. Well, and then Tidus missed. That's hitting Kimari, so it's actually okay. I have 9 silence grenades, so we're fine. Don't have to worry about any throwables now. So what I'll do normally here is I want to eat the Thundaras. So I will just swap back to Sonic Steel now before I start attacking. And it just makes for a good end to the fight. We want a sphere grid. Tidus is going to get these 2 power nodes. And this agility node. Then we're going to do Tidus, Riku, and Lulu. No, Tidus, Riku, and Yuna. That's supposed to be. Alright, so with Macalania, very easy puzzle. That is still over to the right. Macalania sphere out of the right wall. Into the pedestal. Pedestal forward. Down to the lower level. Grab the glyph sphere. Head to the lower level and push the pedestal to the right. Head to the left and put the glyph sphere in the farthest to the left wall. That reveals another Macalania sphere. Go upstairs and grab that. Bring it back downstairs and put it into the column on the left-hand side. And then grab the Macalania sphere at the top of the ramp, leading back to upper level. And put it in the middle column, and you're done. So by my counts, I should only need 2 more speed spheres. But I still need 5 more powers. So if I get an encounter that's worth anything decent, I will take it and throw a grenade at it. But we'll see. So on the bridge leaving, focusing on good movement again. We want to hug this inside wall and try to run as many straight lines as possible. This is another one of those things that does require just a little bit of practice, but with good practice and you get this movement down properly, you can always and consistently avoid getting into Guado encounters It always seems like it's going to be close at the very end, but if your movement's good, you'll not get the encounters.
I'll be right back.
So that's going to give me 1 speed sphere. And because I have 9 silence grenades, if I get another encounter, I'm going to throw a silence grenade at it. That's 3 power spheres. Also, the game thinks that I finished Wendigo already.
I won't go so easy on you next time.
Brotherhood. Cell. Orin. Power break. Okay, top guard. We need Lulu to get a little bit of experience here, so Lulu's gonna come in. I need to res Lulu at the earliest convenience that I have. Dang, did not get the damage roll. A little bit slow, but not all bad. Oop. Need to talk to Riku here. Touch the save sphere. Then head forward. Grab this level 2. Talk to Orin. Now we're in Navi Sands. Basic attack. See, this gets hit.
Need some.
Spam defend until Lulu shows up.
Are you all...
And then run away. So now that we're in Navi Sands, we'll just collect all of our party members. So we'll get Kimari first. So I'm in a weird situation because I have so many because I got 9 silence grenades. I don't really need any silent or any other throwables.
I won't go
The
so
sleeping
easy on you
powders
next
are
time.
not required for me to get. So we'll just continue to run forward until we find
I'll be right
till we
back.
find Riku. Oh, I forgot that Orin doesn't have Sentry on anymore, so I gotta fix that. So I have to get through this Machina tutorial, and then I can change party formation. And while I'm doing that, then I will also change equipment.
I can take them apart.
I'll be right back.
And also do a silence, do a sphere grid. So that. That. And we're good to go for the remainder of the area.
Let's do it. I won't
Like
go
I said,
so
because
easy
I
on you
have
next time.
so many throwables, I don't need to steal sleeping powders or anything like that. But you would be wanting to look for preemptive encounters such as that have the dogs, so that way you can have at least 2 sleeping powders or Bevelle.
I'll be right
guards.
back.
So in the third screen, we want to head to the left. This is one of the situations where you do not follow the red arrow because it's actually a longer distance to
let
run. Instead, we're going to head to the left.
I won't go so easy on you next time. Don't you run, Needles! I won't go so easy on you next time.
Alright. So just keep on going. There's an exit to this area right over here that you can utilize.
Live and let live!
It puts you a little bit closer to where it is you need to go on the final screen. So not this first sand pit that you see, but the second sand pit on the right hand side is the one that you want to go to for the teleport spheres. I got into encounter right before it.
Live and let live!
Sandragora encounter. We'll just bring Kamari in. And Stone Breath it. We're gonna try to do Sandragora skip. It's pretty easy, but I've never actually been able to do it because I haven't practiced it. Make sure we put Tidus back in the formation, but if you just run to the right hand side of the pit and stop at a very specific spot,
I'll be right back.
Riku should push you right on through. And you can skip the last Sandragora. Saves that encounter. You don't really need the AP from it, so it's really easy.
This should be quick.
So for the bomb encounters, just haste Tidus and spam attack. And pray that Lulu doesn't die. Lulu dies, it's like, man, it sucks. Because you want her to have the extra AP from this fight, but if she doesn't get it, it's not a big deal. It's not worth
Let's
rezzing
find
her
Yuna,
for
quick!
it. So for the second fight, swap to Kamari, lance it. Then stone. what I like to do, just to help with my movement here, because of the way that this is kind of disorienting, I'll hold down until the screen transitions, and then that's when I'll do the menu to swap party, so that way I can hold forward after that, and it actually puts me in the correct direction. That's just something that I like to do, but however you get through that is whatever. As long as you make sure that you remove Kimahri from the party and put Tidus back in the lead, so that way when you get to this fight,
Why did you do this?
you can repeat the exact same thing again. Bring Kimahri in, lance with the Chimera, and then Stone Breath. Be careful when you do the second Stone Breath, because Stone Breath moves because of the number of overdrives that Kimahri learns. So be careful to not miss input there. After all of that is said and done though, we want to switch our party formation to Tidus, Kimahri, and Riku. At the bottom of the stairs, grab this chest on the right hand side for the level 2 key sphere, and you are done with one. Alright. So inside of the airship, you get this lovely screen disorientation, which is always nice. Side effect of CSR. But leave, go back in, run around to the other side of this orb, talk to brother, and then leave again. Run through the corridors. On this screen with Rin, you need to be careful about movement, because you can just get an encounter. That, unfortunately, even if I had good movement, it was still going to happen. But if you get into any random encounters, just run away from them. Make sure you touch the save sphere at the end, just for added safety. And then we're going to fight Evrae. Evrae's turn order on Blitzwind is very, very, very strict. If you forget to do the mid-fight cheer, you will not kill him. Haste. Cheer. If Tidus was to get another turn before Riku, you would just swap armor. It doesn't matter what you swap to, just anything. But because I did not get that weird turn order, I can just go straight to the mix. And then Tidus can start attacking. So, 1 attack. 2 attacks. Kimahri can steal. Tidus has to cheer after 2 attacks. I do not have to heal Tidus. 1, 2. You only have to heal Tidus if he gets hit on the first turn. And you would heal with an elixir. Because Kimahri and Riku both get a turn here, we'll just go for the extra steals. We need 2 water gems total. I got the second water gem, so we don't have to worry about stealing later, and then you can just finish Evrae off. For Bevelle guards, make sure that you do heal, so heal with the Mega Potion. You should have them. So for guard 1, for guard wave 1 and 3, you just spam attack with Tidus. Because I don't have sleeping powders, I have to do a different way of fighting these. So for this formation, we need to swap Warren in. Swap Kimahri in. Throw 2 silence grenades. And then on Kimahri's next turn, swap Tidus back in and attack the robot. For third wave, you can leave your formation exactly the same.
Stay right there, Seymour!
Attack. Defend. Attack. And then attack again. For the fourth wave, same thing.
We're coming, Yuna!
Swap to Kumari. Throw a silence grenade. Throw a silence grenade. Swap Titus back in. And attack. Attack once. Bomb for the back guy. Attack this guy. And attack. That's Bevelle guards. I got lucky with the Lulu dodge there. Normally, if she gets targeted, she gets killed, but it's fine either way. Epic running music until we get to Bevelle Trials. Bevelle Trials is some people's least favorite playster. I actually thoroughly enjoy this. Very, very, very fun to do optimally. So for the Cloister Trials, just push the pedestal forward. You'll ride the track until you get to the first glyph. And then you get started. So as you're coming up, you go to the second junction and you make sure you go left. You can hold X to make to activate the glyph to change your directions. So we'll go left here. We'll grab the sphere out of the wall and we'll push the pedestal back onto the runway. After you get back on, you can just hold down X so that way you turn around. And then whenever you come back to this first junction again, make sure you go left to the opposite side. That sphere that you have in your hand, we'll make sure we put it into the wall. And then we'll push the pedestal back onto the runway. Again, you can just hold X or A if you're using Xbox controller so that you go left, or so that you turn around. And then we're going to go to that second intersection and go left this time. So now this is where the tricky part is. When you get to this next platform, you want to go left, but you don't want to take the first available, you want to take the second available. So that's first available, that's second available. You want to take the second one because that way it lines up properly. The second intersection that you go to, you want to hold X or A so that you turn right at the second one. Grab the glyph sphere at the end of the hall. And push the pedestal back onto the runway. So what you can do here, after you start riding again, continue to just hold X so that way you turn right at the last intersection. Now from here, you take that glyph sphere that you have in your hand and you put it in the empty slot of the pedestal that is right in front of you. Run around to the other side of the pedestal, grab the Bevelle sphere, and put it into the wall on your left-hand side. After the pathway opens, grab the glyph sphere that you just put into the pedestal, and run it to the end of the hall and put it in the invisible wall. Grab the destruction sphere at the end of the hall and run back to the pedestal and put it into the first slot of the pedestal. Then grab the Bevelle sphere out of the wall to your left, and push the pedestal back onto the runway. Now, it's gonna make you fall off the edge. After you fall off the edge, continue to just hold X. It only works after you get the destruction sphere. But if you continue to hold X here, you will catch the very first route forward, which will also time it right so that you can catch the second intersection to the right. Very important to optimize your timing. Once the pedestal comes back to rest, take the Bevelle sphere in your hand, put it in the pedestal, run to the other side, grab the destruction sphere, and then place the destruction sphere at the end of the hallway. Run back to the pedestal, push it back onto the runway, and jump off the end again. After you respawn, you have to take the first available forward path. If you hold X, it's not going to let you go forward. It's going to send you, I think, to the right. So just, whenever it's pointing forward again, press X so that you can go forward. And then hold X again, and it will make you catch the right-hand turn at the first junction. Once that's done, run the pedestal straight down so it pushes through the platform to the next part of the runway, and you are done. But doing Bevelle trials that way is the fastest that you can do it, in terms of catching the correct cycles and whatnot. So you're forced to grab this chest. Once you grab the chest, hold down right so that you miss the glyph, and then you are done with Bevelle trials. Make sure you name Bahamut. One of the cool things about CSR, because of the lack of the cutscenes, if you just immediately start running straight, you can catch this second teleporter leading you straight. The only way that you can do it. You can't do it in normal any percent. So that is one of the nice little perks. This is a really, really big and important sphere grid. Orin, you press right 3 times. Activate the level 2. Press right 4 times. Activate the level 2. Push up a couple of times. Activate the magic. Winno uses the teleport sphere, presses right, uses both mana and power, moves to the HP sphere, uses both powers and mana, down and to the right, double power, moves here, mana, and agility, moves to this, uses both powers, moves down 1, uses power, and is done. Touch the save sphere for the extra healing. And now we need to count how many encounters that we kill. Larvas and robots in the next couple of areas. Anytime you get an overkill, it counts as 1 kill. We need 4 total. The best way to do that is to summon Ixion and just attack. So that's 1 kill.
I hate this place.
I agree. See, I agree, Orin. Summon another Ixion. Do another basic attack. That's 2. I did not get any more encounters. So that means I need to kill 2 robots on the Bevelle High Road. So for Grathia, summon Bahamut. I think I'm gonna be 1 more speed sphere short, and I also think I'm gonna be 2 power spheres short. Because I haven't been doing a very good job of keeping track of them, so I'm going to buy 2 distillers and utilizing them later. But once you summon Bahamut, just punch Grathia in the face. That takes care of battle number 1. Battle number 2 requires 2 punches to Veil Force face, or 1 if you get a crit on turn 1. So Rage for the crit.
It's not.
No crit. So the 2 punches, and we're good. Luckily, Veilfor didn't use Sonic Wing. Sometimes he'll use Sonic Wing, and it'll actually get the delay effect, and he'll get an extra turn, and then it's just like, man. Well, that's but now, Isaru uses Bahamut against us. We can no longer use Bahamut. Instead, we'll use Ixion again, and we will just spam 5 attacks. Ixion should kill if you've done your grids properly. Ixion should kill Bahamut before Mega Flare goes off.
I cannot. And no crits again, so no bonus attack. So unlucky. Alright, now that we have regained control of Tidus, up here in the top right hand corner is a treasure chest that we can use to buy our distillers. I'm gonna buy 1 power and 1 speed.
And then against Evrae Altana, we're going to use that speed and that power, or we're going to use one of the speed or power distillers. The power distiller was the first one that I saw in inventory. I'm just going to use it. And then we're going to throw the Phoenix down. Gonna get a counter hit. Somebody's gonna get stone gazed, which is fine. That's the second 1 in 256 that Waka has survived. PogChamp. But we got our 2 power spheres there because of that. Now I need to, at some point in time, use the speed distiller. Who would be a good target for that? We'll find somebody. We can always throw it on one of the robots that we're gonna fight. The robots that I'm gonna have to fight don't really drop anything in particular. Alright, so now that we're done here, we're back on the Highbridge. Teleport here. Power. 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 Agility. Power. Waka out for Orin. Speed distiller. Bonk bonk.
I'll be right back.
That's 1 kill. We need to do 1 more kill.
I'll be right back.
That's my 4th kill. Encounters, unfortunately.
I'll be right back.
Not a big deal though. Lulu has more than 35 sphere levels, so I don't have to do Lulu strats for Natus. Touch the save sphere here and continue 1. For this. Do this basic attack Seymour's body. I eat the blizzard. Yuna summons Bahamut. And punches. Alright. Couple of cutscene triggers. smoochy smoochy scene. Now that that's over though, make sure we do that. Swap Yuna out for, oops. Swap Yuna out of the party for Kamari, or Orin, rather. I don't have to steal any extra fire gems because I have the 2 water gems. If I didn't have 2 water gems, then I would need to make sure that I find a flame flawn somewhere and steal from it. You're very favored to find a fire gem before. It's very favored to find a flame flawn before you get there. Just make sure that you have Orin in the party.
We'll get through this.
So that you're maximizing your chances at preemptives and you're not getting ambushed. So that you can actually steal safely. But after you get your steal, if you need it, it's just a slow, steady process running across the comlands.
Let's get him, guys!
Whenever I'm running through the Calmlands, what I always do is I look for this little, that little bit of ruins straight ahead that I'm looking at, and I aim just to the right of it whenever I'm running, so that way I'm running as straightest line possible. It's a couple of seconds faster if you don't get as many encounters, but if you come to the other side of this little piece of ruins and kind of angle yourself to the left ever so slightly, there's actually a little path that you can take through this indentation. So you just run over here and then run this little spot. And then you angle yourself just a little bit to the right. Then you can catch this little part of the land that dips down. And then angle yourself to the right again, and you should be able to straight line it to the end, to the exit. After that, just run across the bridge, and we're going to fight Defender X. Defender X is a joke.
Halt!
Just swap Tidus for Yuna. Yuna summons Bahamut. You should still be on Bahamut in terms of memory cursor from the Seymour fight. So you can just swap the Yuna and then mash. And Bahamut should still be on attack from Natus, so you can again continue to just mash. And then you 2-punch the kill. If you get a crit turn 1, then it saves a turn, but if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. Alright. Now we're off to Gagazet. The Ronso brothers, you have to really, really pay attention to your drops, because you have 3 different grid paths depending on what you get. 4 returns is the most common outcome. 2 returns to friends is very good to get. 4 friends very rarely happens. It makes the grids very awkward, but it is ever so slightly faster technically. So, once you start the fight, make sure that you steal from Biran. Get you your level 3. Biran's gonna bulldoze, and then from here, use your water gem. Make sure you use it on Yankei first. Then you use water gem on Biran. Pay attention to your drops. I got 4 returns, so it's very standard. So what we'll do here, Lulu moves up 2 spaces, uses a level 2, down 9. Level 3, down right 2. Then from here, Yuna uses one of those return spheres to go back to the end of Waka's grid, move forward 1, use a mana sphere, use a level 1 key, go down 2, use a power, use a speed. And then we go to Tidus, use a return to go back here, and learn Armor Break. Your formation is going to be Tidus, Waka, and Kamari, and then you're going to customize Shimmering Blade with First Strike, and Staff with First Strike. Again, pay attention to your return sphere drops. If you only got 2, your grid's going to be different. If you only got 1, your grid's going to be different. Or if you didn't get any, your grid's going to be very different. Like I said, 4 returns is the most common. That's the 2 common drops that you get from those 2 guys. But rares do occur. So here in Gagazet, unless you're tracking, you're gonna be, obviously, if you're tracking, you would have had no encounter armor, so you don't have to deal with this. But without the tracking, you're just going to deal with all your encounters. Make sure that Tidus is in the party, and just keep running away from everything. No big issues here. If you wanted to, if you got the triple Machina encounter, you can charge Riku's Overdrive. You do not need to use Overdrive on Seymour Flux for a Chaos Grenade if you have Silence Grenades. That's not a requirement. I prefer to use Chaos Grenade. That's just my preference. So I'm gonna steal. Then I'm gonna steal. And then I'm going to escape with the other 2 so that Riku gets her Overdrive. The triple Machina encounter is the best encounter to get because it's really, really easy to take out 2 of the enemies. Those big Machina will always one-shot Riku and do enough damage to charge her. But after that's taken care of, just continue to progress, get up to the top of the mountain, and prepare for the Seymour Flux encounter.
The only way to go is forward.
So, whenever you get right before the or whenever you get right after the load trigger, after you leave this area. Before you get to the load, make sure you touch the save in case you had to charge Riku's overdrive. Otherwise, that'd be a little bit of an issue just because of the animation slowdown. But once you're on the other side of the load trigger, you can do your formation swaps. Technically, you can do it at any time, but it's better to do it here. So we're going to do Tidus, Waka, and Auron, or Tidus, Auron, and Yuna. We're going to make sure that the first strike weapons are on all the characters before we start the fight. Alright, so with Yuna, bonk, haste, Yuna, swap to Riku, silence grenade, and regular grenade. No, sorry. HP sphere and grenade. Chaos grenade. Summon Bahamut. And then we're going to go for the impulse. Hope for the crit. If we get the crit, they die. Or he dies. Did not get the crit, so unlucky. Bahamut gets banished, but not a big deal. Still did plenty of damage there. Now we just continue to bonk. We want to make sure that we get that overkill, otherwise we're AP short for a while. After the fight, swap Yuna out of the party for Kimahri, and Riku out of the party for any other character. We just want Tidus in the party because he'll still have first strike and can flee. If we have Yuna in the party, because she has first strike on, she's gonna outspeed, and then you just waste time. So back in Dream Zanarkand, just run inside the living room, and then we can progress. Then we're off to Gagazet Ruins. Or Gagazet Caverns, rather. Again, you're going to be dealing with a lot of encounters here. It's not necessary to recharge Riku's overdrive. You can if you want, if you get a favorable encounter. But if you don't get a favorable encounter, it's not a requirement. But just continue to run away from encounters. This is a favorable encounter, so I will charge Riku's overdrive here. Heal here. Heal there. And then try to manually escape with the boys. Swap Riku out for Tidus again. Don't really need to heal Kimahri, it's not a big deal. But get our overdrive on a... We have our overdrive on Riku. We're not going to use that overdrive until Broska's Final Aeon. So just having it is one less thing on the checklist that we have to pay attention to. Here in the water area, if you get the quadruple piranha encounters, you can kill those for power spheres if you need to, but because of the changes in agility that they have, only attack the groups of piranhas that have 3. Also with this Blitzball minigame, there's a timing to it. So when the first opening passes like this, you look at the top of the stems of the opening, and when on the left-hand side they line up with each other, they overlap. If you press X, you'll get it every time. So wait for the first hole that you see to pass by. Look at the tops where the stems of that opening point upwards, and watch them. And like I said, when they overlap with each other on the left-hand side, press A or X, and then you'll have the perfect timing to throw the ball. After that, just continue to flee from encounters. Keep on going. Going to be dealing with a lot of encounters for the remainder of this run. That's really the hardest part about this, is just hoping that you don't get too many encounters.
How many steaks you think we can get out of these?
So head back to the red arrow, run up the stairs, and aim left at the fort. This is the direction that you need to go. Keep on fleeing. Alright. So in the second trial, this water area, this is the hardest minigame in the entire game. So difficult, it requires so much brain power. Not many people casually could get this thing first try. Alright, here we go. So we gotta put Riku into the green hole by holding right and then hitting X. Then hold X to put Tidus in the blue hole. And then Waka goes in the orange hole. Wow, look at how hard that was. Now that the hardest minigame in the game is done, you gotta continue to flee from encounters while trying to make your way out of here. Again, work on your movement. Make sure you take straight lines. Make sure you're trying your best to hug corners as best as you can. Minimize the amount of time you're actually moving as best you can, so that way you can get in and out of these encounters with the least amount of chance to get an encounter. But after you come out of the water, just come up this newly formed bridge. Since Bahamut was banished, you need to touch this save sphere right here. We're gonna get one more encounter most likely,
after this last encounter, we're going to do our formation change in preparation for Sanctuary Keeper. So we're going to go Kamari, Tidus, and Yuna. Yuna's going to defend. Tidus is going to armor break. Yuna's going to summon Bahamut. And punch. Alright, now we're off to Zanarkand. Because I got the overkill on Seymour Flux, I do not need to force any extra encounters and try and get any extra AP. If you were to miss the overkill on Seymour Flux for some reason, you need to kill you need to kill 2 of the kick robots, so the YKT-11s. You have to kill 2 of those, or you kill 1 Defender Z. The kicking robots, you just punch those twice, once with Tidus, one with Yuna, just like at the Highbridge. If you get the Defender Z, you need to summon Bahamut and punch it. That should be enough to make up your AP that you're missing. Now, for extra safety, on this road, there is a fortune sphere. It's the second chest that you come across. I also forgot to change parties. At the campfire scene, you should probably take Riku out. Or not Riku, but Yuna out of the party. So this first chest here that you see is going to have a single fortune sphere in it. Gonna need that for later. I just continue to run along the path, running from encounters. A lot of behemoths. Alright. So now that we're inside of Zanarkand Dome, because I got 4 return spheres, I need to go out of my way to grab a chest. That's the Defender, by the way. If you miss the overkill and you get that encounter, just swap the Yuna, summon Bahamut, and punch it. These kicking robots are the YKTs. Attack it once with Tidus, attack it once with Yuna whenever you have the formation set properly, and then flee. Because I don't need any AP, I can just continuously run away. So when you get past this second save sphere, the friend sphere that you need to get is up here on the right hand side. On average, getting this friend sphere costs you an extra encounter, but it is required if you only get 4 friends or 4 returns.
Alright. When you're in this last hallway, this first chest on the right hand side has a luck sphere. You need that. And then we're gonna do some Tetris. Touch this save sphere here for a full heal in case you need it. Never hurts to not do it. Before you leave this area, you need to do this grid though. So if you got 4 returns, which I did, we're going to use the friend sphere to teleport to Lulu. We're going to use the luck sphere here and the fortune sphere. Double power. Move here. Power. Double speed sphere. Then you just follow the pictures in the notes to do your Tetris. One other thing that I need to do before I start these puzzles, before I forget. Yuna and Orin need to come into the party. They should still have their first strike weapons on, so we don't have to worry about that. And then again, we just follow the puzzles. Yes, you're fine. You'll be okay. Alright. We grab the Kilika sphere in the middle so we can put it in the second pedestal. Then we go down to this one. This is your third puzzle. Fourth puzzle is top right hand. So this one. This one, and then this one, and then this one. And then this one, and then this one, that one, this one, that one. Alright, one last puzzle. Bottom right hand corner. So we'll go here.
this one, that one, this one, and then this last one. And this route is the most optimal just because it puts us right in front of the screen where we can grab the last Besaid sphere, which disables the screen, and put it into the final pedestal. Our turn order is correct, or our party order is correct. So with Yuna, just summon Bahamut. It takes 2 normal hits to kill, or 1 critical hit. So again, we're looking for the critical. Not a big deal if it doesn't happen. Nice dodge. Dead. Alright, one final grid left to do. That entails power spheres. This is the last power sphere grid, I should say. So once you regain, Yuna uses a return to go to the +3 in Rocka's grid. Moves here, uses 1 speed, uses 1 power, uses 1 power. I had exactly enough power spheres. I did manage to count it right. So very good. So just run on through and start the Unalesque. Same as everything. Summon Bahamut. Punch her to death. At the end of the fight, you need to look at your weapon. You need to look at the equipment drop. If you see a weapon drop, it doesn't matter what weapon. If you see a weapon drop, it normally has zombie attached to it, or zombie strike attached to it. Make a mental note if you see it, so that way you can prepare for it later. Megadeth doesn't do anything. Then she's gonna use Mind Blast. Doesn't do anything. Then you punch her again, and she's dead. Devastator. That is a Riku weapon. That's pretty okay, I think. Not entirely sure. Alright, so on the way out, make sure we touch the save sphere again, and then we leave. So now we get some epic running music.
Now that we're back in the airship, we run to the end of the airship. Look for Kamari and Yuna. Talk to them. After that, apparently you have to be careful there because you can get trapped between Yuna and Kamari if you're not paying attention to your movement. I didn't know that. But run back into the cockpit. Talk to Sid.
Way up there. Baby here.
Go to Highbridge. Head on through. Now that we're here. The Bahamut questions. So answer 1.
I must thank you.
So,
Answer 2. Oops. I was holding the wrong direction. So hold forward. Talk to Sid. Mash X. And then we start the fight. So run back outside the ship again. Your party should still already be set. Alright, once we're outside, Yuna does what Yuna does best. So there's Bahamut, but instead of attacking this time, we're going to spam Impulse. We need 2 impulses in order to kill, or 1 critical impulse. You'll know that you got a critical because it'll just die. No crit. No critical. Fight 2 is exactly the same as Fight 1. Summon Bahamut. Spam Impulse. No crit. No crit. So those are the 2 Finn fights. Now we gotta fight Janias in the core. But it's again the same exact thing. Yuna goes first. Yuna spams summon. This time, instead of impulsing, just spamming impulse, you need to impulse and then hit left to target the core. Alright, after the fight, epic running music again. Need to go back out to the top of the airship. So run through all the corridors one last time. Well, technically this isn't one last time. We run through, we talk to Yuna, and then we run through it one last time. Alright, so for the Overdrive Sin fight, we're gonna abuse Bahamut some more. So turn 1, we're gonna summon Bahamut, and then we're gonna use Impulse. $70k damage. It's gonna pull us in. And then once he pulls us in twice, we just punch him to death. Not enough damage to kill. First impulse didn't do enough damage. Alright. Once we're inside of Sin, mash through this text as quick as possible, and then swap Yuna and Orin out of the party for anybody else. We just want them out of the way. Again, because Yuna outspeeds. So as long as Tidus has his first strike weapon on, it doesn't matter if we get ambushed, we can just run away from everything. So continue along the path. Navigating the Sea of the Dead is somewhat difficult at times, but with practice,
I'll be right back.
You'll get the hang of how it navigates. The map in the notes is decent enough that you can follow it if you have a little bit of understanding about how the layout of the game is and whatnot. If you have not charged Riku's Overdrive, you don't need to if you don't want to. As long as you still have a Silence Grenade. If you do not have a Silence Grenade, you have to do Chaos Grenade strats. So, I have Overdrive, and I'm going to be using Chaos Grenade strats.
I won't go so easy on you next time. I'll be right back.
Also, I stole frag grenades from the Machina in Mount Gagazet, so I'm going to use frag grenades against Omnis for like super safety. This is not required. You have armor break on Riku.
I won't go so easy on you next time.
Or you have armor break on Tidus, but Tidus has a chance to miss. Frag grenade cannot miss. That's the only reason why I'm going to do that.
I won't go so easy on you next time.
Normally you would just use your armor break with Tidus. But like I said, because I have frag grenades, I'm going to use those. Just so that way I don't get 1 in 256. Already seen it twice happen this year, this run, where Waka survived instant death attacks twice. It just seems like it could be that time. That's gonna be my last encounter.
Live and let live.
So I need to make sure that I do my party's formation correctly.
So bring in Riku. Throw the frag grenade. Summon Yuna. Or bring Yuna in, summon Bahamut. Make sure we get Tidus back in the party and Yuna out of the party again. Again, we'll continue to run away from stuff.
I'll be right back. Live and let live.
And then we get to do the crystal minigame. Crystal minigame does require a good amount of skill and a little bit of game knowledge in how to manipulate the camera the best.
I won't go so
But it's
easy on you
also
next time.
very, very luck oriented. You just have to be lucky at times.
I won't go so easy on you next time. Live and let live.
Alright. Crystal minigame. So always move down right. The way that the camera angles, if you run down to the right, you can see more of the arena. Whenever you can no longer run down right, that's when you start moving left. And also you look for the little pyroflies that start to go downwards. That will give you a heads up as to where a crystal is gonna spawn. I can't get that one because I don't know how long it's been there for. That one I can get a hold of because I gotta jump on it. Missed that one. I can get that one because I got a good jump on it. Can't get that one. That's really lucky. I can get that one over there because I also got a good jump on it. Just need one more. Don't know how long that one's been there for. Can get to that last one. So it wasn't the greatest crystal minigame, but it was okay. Alright. So the final grid that I have to do here. Attribute sphere for Yuna. Grab that. That. Alright. Now we do BFA. So with BFA, Yuna switches to Riku. Grenade, HP Sphere, Chaos Grenade, Talk, Blue Yuna in, summon Bahamut. And then we punch him to death. There's about a 33% chance that he uses Jet Beam. If he uses Jet Beam, it saves you a turn. It saves you probably like 25 seconds. So it's really, really positive to see it. Otherwise, he's going to use Sword Swipe, which causes delay, and then you have to watch a bunch of different animations from the Yupagotos. I got the Sword Swipe. So I get hit with delay. And then we get 2 Power Waves. Unlucky. Alright. Final fights. Just the Aeons left. So now we're gonna play the pay to win strats. I always like to do Bahamut last, or do Bahamut first, just because it makes it so that I don't accidentally summon out of order, and I can easily just throw all of my remaining gil at Shiva. So it's just an easy up input in the very beginning. So summon Bahamut first, and then we throw 40k at him. Bahamut's dead. And now at this point, you can just match. You don't have to worry about misinputting, because you'll do Veil 4 Ifrit Ixana in order. Depending on who you got if you got a zombie strike weapon and who you got the zombie strike weapon on, will dictate how you go about the Yevon phase of the fight. But because I got Riku's kind of the worst one to get it on, now that I look at it. But it is what it is. 20k for Veil 4 takes him out. Ifrit gets 30k. All the rest of them can just get 30k. One last Aeon to go. And that's it. Alright, with Riku's zombie strike weapon, like I said, it's a little awkward. There we go. Defend. Haste. Weapon change. Attack. Phoenix down. Dot. Done. Nice. Very nice. Well, hopefully I explained everything relatively well. Hopefully this video can get used by some newer runners, and it helps them understand the notes a little bit easier. I know sometimes just reading the notes in its entirety is a little bit daunting and things like that. So hopefully this can help bridge that gap between the first couple of runs. But yeah, pretty solid time. Not too many mistakes, not too many time loss. Blitzball was really, really good. Kilika Woods could have been way better. Early game was pretty atrocious, but Blitzball was really, really good. Triple Letty is always a really good Blitzball. So this was a good run. Still not PB'd, technically, but pretty solid. I'm happy with the time. But yeah, that's the tutorial. Like I said, I hope it helps. I hope it makes sense. If you do have any questions, feel free to contact me on Discord. I'll have my Discord information in the description. And yeah, thanks for watching. And be sure also, I'll have in the description block as well a link to the FF10 speedrunning Discord and to the notes themselves and to the GitHub as well to actually get the cutscene remover mod. It's a really easy download. Run the program while you're running the Steam version of Final Fantasy X and cutscenes go away. It's very nice. But yeah, like I said, thanks again for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to do all the fun stuff like comment and subscribe, all that stuff. And we'll see you next time. Take care.